What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another spooky episode of the Anime Squad podcast. My name is Robbie.
And this is David.
And unfortunately, Omar is not here with us due to him being preoccupied. And the reason why is because today is actually Halloween. Yeah, that's right. Episode 30 is being recorded on Halloween. And to celebrate, we decided to actually go back and visit a very special anime to us that kind of fits the tone of the season and the holiday itself. So we went back to watch Soul Eater episode 1. So this is just kind of like so here both me and David, we've already seen Soul Eater. I've seen the entirety of it in Japanese, and David's seen it entirely in English. So for him, this is his first time actually watching it in Japanese. What did you think? What did you think, David? The Japanese dub.
I enjoyed it so far. You get two takes of how the original or the Japanese versus the dub, and it was interesting. I enjoyed both takes. If anything, I might even start watching it on the Japanese.
I know, yeah, same here. And for me, like I said, I've already seen it in Japanese, but man, rewatching Soul Eater just felt so good, especially since we've been watching, Fire Force and everything like that. It's really cool to go back and see kind of like how far we've come and just kind of like how things were. Soul Eater in particular was one of those anime that a lot of people would just be talking about around the late 2000s and everything. And going back to this felt really cool. We only watched the first episode just to kind of get that sense of Halloween, especially considering that the theming around it just felt very much like the spirit of Halloween, and Blair in particular, since the whole premise of Soul Eater is that Maka and then her weapon Soul are to collect 100 souls, Kishin souls as they call it, and then one witch soul. It just kind of fit the atmosphere and vibe. It's really cool to go back to it, just kind of see the comparisons between the two, between Fire Force and Soul Eater, and just all around it was just a lot of fun. We only saw the first episode, so we only got to kind of experience that little bit. But it was just all around just a lot of fun.
I guess it just brings back memories.
I guess. For sure, yeah.
Well, for you the most. For me, it just brought me back to my college days.
Yeah, for me, I saw it not when it came out, but for me, I saw Soul Eater basically around a little bit before the English dub came out. So roughly around 2010, 11 or so was when I saw it. And yeah, it's been a long time. So it's just going back was just a lot of fun. Seeing Soul and Maka just kind of doing their thing and everything like that. It just felt so refreshing and everything. And yeah, it was just great. Good times. And we're now going to be moving on to our legit anime to start things off, or I guess, ironically speaking, end things off for this anime, is episode 7 of Dragon's Dogma, the finale, the Pride episode as it calls it. And yeah, what a way to end it, I guess. We kind of lead into our heroes going into the abandoned church where the dragon was laying rest and everything, and we see Ethan and Hannah approach it and do their thing, just kind of go into the final battle. And it was cool. It was a cool spectacle to see, but I mean, overall, I kind of wish that there was just more of the dragon, I guess. The dragon, I felt was just kind of not really as intimidating as it was in the first episode. Hannah, was still doing her thing, shooting ice, shooting in ice floors and stuff, and Ethan running around and, doing jabs and stabs with his sword and all that, and even hitching a ride on the dragon, which looked really weird because the dragon.
But not the griffin, right?
Oh, no, not the griffin, no. That's what I was saying, they should have, had a scene where, Ethan was trying to tame the griffin, but no, with this one, he's just riding the dragon, talking's why do you kill us, dragon? And the dragon's because that is my nature, I must kill humans, which is, just dumb, but, this dragon stuff. Eventually, of course, Ethan does win. That's the whole point of the anime, is for Ethan to go on his revenge quest to slay the dragon that basically stole his future away. And plot twist, though, the dragon was actually human. And the reason why he turned into a dragon was because he himself was also an arisen that was basically turned into, but got his heart taken away from a dragon. And he went on his own quest, slayed the dragon, but eventually became the dragon because the way he killed it. I think they said that the way he killed it was that he was rage fueled, or I guess he had the sense of pride, which apparently the dragon had, and that's what made him turn into a dragon. And unfortunately for Ethan, when he did the finishing blow, he went full on like rage mode, and he was just taking chomps at his heart, just like straight up, just taking bites and nabs, and it was grotesque to say the least. But yeah, he does the deed, he gets his heart back, but the cost is, of course, is that even though the dragon's dead, the moment that he I guess bit into the heart or whatever, in that state was basically what made him also suffer the same fate and also turning into a dragon. Hannah unfortunately didn't know that, because even though pawns are supposed to know everything about how dragons and everything work, they don't know that essential piece. So because of that, Ethan says, "Hannah, kill me, hurry up," and does all that. But unfortunately, Hannah, she's too human. She's through her journey, she kind of had the opposite development as Ethan, and decides not to kill him. So the one final request that Ethan makes before he completely loses his mind is to basically protect the humans from me. Flies off away and is never seen again. He drops his bangles though from his dead wife, and she wears it in honor and memory of Ethan as he was, and that's how the anime ends. It just ends like that. So quest is complete, but is it really complete is the real answer, real question, I guess. And yeah, I guess it's just up to us to kind of give us our thoughts. Unfortunately, like I said, Omar's not here. However, he has left with us a note to kind of give us our thoughts, because he did see it on his own. And I will read to you his score, I guess. This is his words. Last episode was interesting. The dragon was this is Omar's mode, by the way. The last episode was interesting, and the dragon was probably my favorite character of the tragic Arisen, and how his outcome became to be. Ethan is a dumbass as always, and Hannah became human in the end. Very predictable. It's a show that's supposed to show the evil sides of humanity and their evil sins, aka the 7 deadly sins. Some sins are better represented than others, and some are barely represented. I'm looking at you, Lust. Ethan sucks as an MC, and Hannah's okay. Overall, there are other better anime that do a better job in the 7 deadly sin aspect, and you can absolutely skip on this show. 4.5 from Omar. So that's of course Omar's rating. My rating, however, is a little lower. Personally speaking, I give it a 4. I give it a good 4 out of 10. And the reason being is because there's so much, besides all the points that Omar has stated, my point is that there was really no point really to this anime. The main interesting aspect of the show for me personally was Hannah, and kind of basically how her dynamic was to this overall story and how she became human. And she was pretty much the only character, like, out of all the ones that we've been following and all the ones that we've been keeping up with. Obviously, there only being Ethan and Hannah. She was the more interesting of the two. And Ethan as a character started out promising, but really ended up just kind of, like Omar said, just kind of like going in a predictable kind of path. And it was just so mean-spirited. Like even anime, like, even dark fantasy anime, like, Berserk of sorts, has moments where it's like, you see your heroes, you see the heroes kind of like fight and, go through these battles, and a lot of messed up things happen in their journey. But, you still have that kind of triumph in a sense. And really, Dragon's Dogma has really none of that. There's really hardly anybody, unless you can count the Sloth episode, in which, you know, the main character, you know, the characters in that anime ended up becoming permanently blind. So I guess, you know, yay for that. But yeah, it was just overall just mean-spirited. Nothing really gained from it, really. And yeah, just overall, just a 4 out of 10. Action scenes are pretty cool. That's another reason why it's not, you know, why it's not lower or anything. You know, it's Hana, the action and everything. But yeah, it's a 4. And what about you, David?
For me, I think in general it's 4.5.
Okay.
I agree with Omar on this.
Mm-hmm.
Reasons why is I guess how I look at it. Like, I think the direction or how they did this was too rushed.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I didn't connect with Ethan as much, if anything.
Yeah.
I needed more connection with him, and I didn't get that. If anything, they were trying to connect us with every sin, I guess.
Yeah, and even then, I feel like it was just kind of didn't really hit that potential.
Yeah, so the connection didn't hit well, and I think that's it, man.
Yeah, not much else to say. You know, if you found anything out of this anime, you know, more power to you. But you know, for us, it's for anybody that has been interested in kind of keeping up with Dragon's Dogma, you know, just best to just end it there. Don't check it out. We've said everything we needed to say about this anime.
Yeah, if maybe if it was a longer series, maybe they would have had more connection to the characters.
Right? Yeah.
Since it's just 7, there's
just 7 episodes. Yeah.
Really not much to say about Ethan other than that small journey.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we didn't get the secure win, you know? It was like, bam, there you go. We made it to the journey right away, you know?
Mm-hmm. I feel like we could have also gotten more out of, like, if Ethan was killed, you know, by Hana. But then again, it kind of would have betrayed Hana's growth as a character, in a sense. So it's hard to tell, really. But
Or you know what? Or like a walk to, like, you know how an episode ends? Like, they should have gave us a little bit more.
Right.
Till they visit the other village or a specific area.
Yeah.
Or the specific episode or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just to go through Ethan's head more.
Yeah. None of that really happened. Yeah, that's the problem. So, I know it's unfortunate, but, you know, it's for us, this anime was a bust.
Yeah.
All right, and now we move on to our other Netflix anime that is much better. We move on to Great Pretender, episode 20. And we finally get a conclusion to the flashback, which in itself was just fantastic. In terms of seeing kind of how Laurent kind of grows into his own character within the Karn artist family, and we get to see the continuation of just them going into the Shanghai, infiltrating into the Shanghai gang. Laurent becomes an interpreter as a Chinese interpreter, and we also see Oz also becoming an interpreter on his end as well within the group as well. And you see them kind of reenact the same kind of princess shenanigans that we see, obviously chronologically speaking later on with Abby, but this time with Dorothy, and they kind of pose her as an Ethiopian princess. They go through the whole same beats. They kidnap her and everything, and check her out. It's like, oh, okay, we'll place a 10 million yen, I guess was yen or was it dollars? I think it was yen. But yeah, anyway.
Is it 10 billion or 1 billion?
No, it was like 10 million. It was 10 million. It was $10 million. They placed a $10 million price on her, and they keep her in a jail cell and everything. And the funny thing that me and David caught was the fact that like Abby's was way more like furnished. Like, it was like a legit hotel room with a TV and a Wii on it too. But Dorothy was like legit, just kind of like no better than a prison cell. In fact, it was probably worse because prison cells at least have toilets. She said like, oh, she legit only gets a bucket. And like, what? But it makes sense though because it's a different gang. But anyway, but yeah, so overall, it's kind of like the same story beats. Unfortunately, though, as everything is just kind of secured in the bag and everything, we unfortunately get the unfortunate news that that the actual real Ethiopian princess gets married to foreign royalty, which unfortunately blows Dorothy's cover.
Oh no.
So yeah, Laurent dashes in to rescue her from her predicament, but sadly the Chinese mafia gets to her first, knocks her out, and it's just straight up is just gonna execute her.
I like that
in the middle of the sea.
When he was going towards her, it went back to back.
Yeah, it was going back to back because it was funny too because like it was crazy too because like they were showing Dorothy's perspective. She was like going in a kung fu status to kill a cockroach. Yeah, and it was like just like thinking, oh yeah, he's gonna make it, but unfortunately he does not make it in time, and the Chinese mafia gets to him before he does, and they go off to sea, somewhere isolated, so that way they can shoot her and dump her body there.
It was similar to
Abby and Cynthia, yeah. And same exact situation, except, well, I mean, I'm not sure if it's an except. We still have our thoughts and ideas, but basically, Dorothy does get executed. She says her piece. She even says it in Chinese, which shocks the others because they thought that how does she know Chinese? And they shoot her, and she falls and just drowns basically. But but with us, we still didn't see any bodies or anything like that. So we're like, is she actually dead? We don't know yet. But regardless, though,
poor Laurent.
Laurent is just, he's just torn asunder. He even thinks about killing the Chinese mafia, the Chinese Don. But, he thinks of it in his head, and he's like, you know what? My mom back in France, she's not doing great. I need to go back and visit her. She might not have that much time left. And the Don's like, okay, you know what? That's fine. Your family is my family. You can go ahead. So he uses that time to go back to the hideout, and he's like, Dorothy, where are you? Dorothy, Dorothy. Nowhere to be seen. Dorothy is, at least for now, confirmed to have perished in that whole scuffle. So with all that being said, the Chinese mafia even got to recover their money, and it was interesting too because like you also saw them giving chase to Xin Wu, but she drives away, and then she gets into a car accident and even has like a corpse dummy set up and everything. Like she literally gets off scot-free by through witness protection program basically, where she sets up a body double and then she gets off scot-free and everything. And then on the sidelines, you also see Oz basically setting up a backup plan, being like, okay, you're good. And it sucks too because you even get to see Oz kind of as everything kind of goes awry. Like right before then, he's right in front of the family doorstep. But then he gets that call and he notices like, oh shoot, they got us. They caught us. And that's when he got that backup plan. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna turn myself in. I'm gonna get caught by the police. So he serves his term, and he goes back into the Chinese mafia to basically beg for forgiveness, to kind of go back in there, just to still stick it with them and everything. And in the meantime, you see Laurent just basically kind of regaining his composure, and hire the boys, hire everybody, hire Cynthia, catches Cynthia in a bar.
So this is so pretty much it's like before the beginning.
The
season.
Yeah, before the beginning of the series entirely. Yeah, you see him basically almost get conned by Cynthia, but obviously he's in the business. He knows what's going on. It's like, hey, pretty good acting, but you were kind of playing it a little inconsistent here. I thought your dad already passed away. Why would he still be, why would he still need the money for whatever operation? So yeah, gets hustle Cynthia in, notices Abby win a bunch of bets, like win $20 from from a bunch of thugs and stuff. And he's just like, you know what? don't need. You're worth way more than 20. Just come join us. And then at the end of the episode, you see our boy Makoto. Same thing as the first episode, where he's like, cons out Laurent's wallet. He notices, like, yeah, that's his boy, all right. And that's the end of the episode. So we kind of basically through these 3 episode flashback, we came full circle, and here we are. Overall it was a great episode. It was a nice finale. It was tragic, of course, with what happened with Dorothy and everything, but it reaffirms kind of the situation in regards to how the con life works. You get caught, that's on you. That's why, it's always best to never make these kind of rookie mistakes. You go in, you don't have any kind of like emotional attachment to each other or anything like that, because we're professionals. We're not family, we're not friends. We're in it for the business. And it was just all around, it was just great. And I'm honestly really excited to see kind of where this is gonna end up going. We still got 4 episodes left, or I guess no, 3 episodes left. 3 episodes to kind of wrap things up, and I'm really excited to see how the series is gonna finally end. All right, and then now we move on to our next anime. We can move on to Fire Force Season 2, Episode 18. This one's kind of an interesting episode. Without getting too much into the second half, the first half of the episode is Shin. I know. I gotta hint at this because it's way too ridiculous to just kind of compose it on one. But yeah, Shinra and Iris go to Iris's I guess home, like kind of where she grew up.
I think so. Yeah,
the church that she grew up in, and they go in and they.
No, they were there to refuel their weapons.
Yeah, they were there to refuel their weapons, and also for Iris to practice on her not really her job, but kind of her training as a nun. And also to kind of basically, throughout the episode, was mostly to kind of like reaffirm, or not really reaffirm, but also kind of question to kind of like what the Holy Soul Temple was about. Because all throughout the episode, we were kind of getting kind of hints and kind of ideas that the Holy Soul Temple and the Evangelist might actually be the same. So what the White Clad is fighting for, what the Holy Soul Temple want, might actually kind of be in the same thing. So that kind of sparks a lot of doubts that Iris was going through. Shinra being there to kind of like be, kind of reaffirm that no, it's like I get what you're going through, but you kind of have to kind of stick to your guns, which is kind of in a way kind of contradictory, because it's kind of Shinra that brought up the fact that like, hey, these kind of things, it's like Holy Soul Temple might not all be what they're cracking up to be and everything like that. So it was all around. It was a nice tender kind of like episode for the two of them.
That was funny scenes too.
Oh yeah, there were also still funny scenes throughout. You got to see Iris show off that, hey, I'm working out a little too. She kind of gets a little bit of muscle.
Shinra's face though.
Shinra's face throughout the episode, just kind of made it. Well, okay, up until the second half, of course.
Yeah,
but
it got serious.
Yeah, and then it got serious, especially towards the end of their bit, when one of the I legit thought it was like the head priest, but it was a priest, a regular priest that just all of a sudden just self-combusted and turned into an infernal. And thankfully, Shinra and Iris were right there, ready to just put him to rest and everything. And Shinra did what he had to do, Latom, everything, and it helped Iris just kind of reevaluate kind of like what she's trying to do, because when she was trying to bless the weapons, she had some worldly thoughts. She had worldly thoughts that were kind of like plaguing her blessings. So after everything that had happened, after the talk and everything like that, she was able to kind of reaffirm her faith in the church, and was able to properly, selflessly bless the weapons in peace, and everything went well. Now, the thing that stuck to us the most though was the second half. Because there was a character from the first episode who goes by the name of, well, we'll just call him Assault, but this is his full name right here. But Assault, he is a very powerful member of the White Clad. However, he had a little scuffle, a little problem, a little weakness that plagued him on that first season.
It was on the first season when they were fighting in
the
subway.
Yeah, it was the subway, yeah. And it was when he was fighting against Tamaki. And Tamaki's little ability, sort of,
she's clumsy.
Got the better, yeah.
She's really clumsy.
Yeah, her clumsiness and how her clothes just kind of escape her body. That, unfortunately, for Assault, is his huge Achilles heel. And he does whatever he can to train his one weakness and to strengthen his bond with the White Clad and to make sure all distractions are. So my man straight up just gets a whole bunch of porn. He buys a bunch of porn. He watches a bunch of porn.
No, breast.
No, he says porn.
I know about it.
Right.
Yeah.
To basically focus on the female anatomy, the female breasts and everything like that, making sure that he himself is immune to this kind of stuff. So like our noble warrior would do after completing his training and everything, he goes out and he challenges Tamaki into a duel. And it's funny too because Tamaki just opened her locker and she's like, "What was this? A love letter? What?" Of course, she kind of goes up to confront what was going on, and Assault was right there. And as soon as the battle began, of course, her clothes just kind of come off, and it defeats our man Assault. And he says
he wasn't expecting bottom half.
Yeah, the bottom half came off, and he's like, "What am I gonna do now? I did not train myself in the land of panties." So he came to the conclusion that, okay, you win this round, Tamaki, but I will be back. And when he left, he decided, okay, you know what? I need to see the real thing. I'm gonna go to Chupacabra. And it's kind of funny because we did not plan this at all. But there was actually a little cameo appearance by none other than Death Scythe himself, aka Maka's dad, Spirit Albarn. And it was just
it was really noticeable.
Oh yeah, you see the red hair and you hear his voice and he's like, "Maka!" And I'm like, okay, I guess the world of Soul Eater and Fire Force are in the same plane, I guess. So that was really cool.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, but anyway, so going back to Assault, so he gets his training. He gets to meet the hostesses and everything like that.
I don't think he goes in and he's like, I don't think I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah. He's like kind of second guessing himself. He's like, you know what? I think I'm good. I think I'll be able to handle the real thing now. So he challenges her again, and this time all of her clothes come off, and he's just like, what do I do now? And then, oh my gosh! And when he goes through his third wave of training, that was the funny part. Apparently, the storm was hitting in Tokyo, and every single mishap, quote unquote mishap that was going on, whether the wind was blowing and doing the whole, and all the women's dresses were doing the whole Marilyn Monroe thing, he would just kind of go sneak peeks everywhere, and he's like, okay, I'm good. Third rematch, let's go. And that's where the episode ends. We don't get to see the conclusion of this epic battle, unfortunately. So we'll just have to wait to see the next episode. Yeah. If this even continues. And yeah, I mean, all around it was an interesting episode. Would you say that this really advanced the main plot of the story?
No.
It's
comedic, if anything.
Yeah, I mean, there was, of course, you see that, Iris, of course, had her moments,
That was the first bar.
Yeah, that was, but that's kind of like where the whole similarities. And and of course there was also that little bit right before everything ended when Shinra saw Iris. She all of a sudden, like in his eyes, she kind of turned into the first pillar. So there might be some similarities to her and the first pillar.
I think that's what terrifies him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what kind of brings out his scared smile. So yeah, we might hopefully we might get continuation of that, or either that or the assault fight. We don't know yet, but yeah, that was episode 18 of Fire Force. And now we move on to Adachi to Shimamura episode 4. This one was another comfy episode. The one that kind of stuck out the most was Shimamura hanging out with her mom. They get to have their moments. Shimamura's mom trying to get her to exercise, because unfortunately Shimamura is really bad at doing sit-ups by herself. Her form is just completely out of it. So her mom gets her to go through the trials for gym, go through a gym membership trial, basically uses up her trial for her, and she's like, okay, 5 minutes, I'm done, I'm good. It's like, she's like, no, you're supposed to jog more, you're supposed to do this more, and so they eventually go to a pool, and then all of a sudden Shimamura meets up with Adachi's mom.
She didn't know.
She didn't know at first that it was Adachi's mom, but I think what happened was that she was kind of hearing as kind of like what was going on, and she even said her last name was Adachi, and that was kind of basically when Shimamura put 2 and 2 together, and she was like, oh, that must be Adachi's mom. So eventually they sat on a sauna. She was there. Adachi's mom was right there too. And Adachi's mom was just talking about Adachi, and she was mentioning how, oh, my daughter, she does her own thing. She's not interested in anything. I have no idea what she thinks of, and or any of that, any of that stuff. All that stuff, and it kind of made Shimamura like upset, because she thought, why aren't you paying attention to your daughter? You're her mom. Everything that you're doing, I don't understand. You're not a good mom, basically. It's like, why don't you just be like and then the whole conflict happens, and then eventually it kind of led to Shimamura saying, okay, if I'm gonna set a competition, whoever stays in the sauna longer wins.
What a child.
I know. If I win, you're gonna have to be a better mom to your daughter. And if the Adachi's mom, I think she's like, okay, but if I win, then I have to meet your mom, basically. Even though apparently they already know each other, but I guess Adachi's mom doesn't know that Shimamura is Shimamura's mom's daughter. Anyway, so they go through the competition, and eventually Adachi's mom's like, you know what? I'm just gonna let you win. This is you got your own resolve. I'm gonna do what you said. You win. So she walks away. And then when Shimamura sees Adachi the next day, Adachi just all of a sudden just says, you know what? It's kind of weird. Last night, my mom actually made dinner. And, she always makes dinner, but she was actually around. That never happens. So, Adachi just kind of says that kind of in a disgusting way, mainly because she's not used to it. And she was just kind of she wasn't close to the idea, but all that happening, it was just new. It was just a new kind of world for her. So, and everything else that's kind of happens in the episode itself was, of course, just more of that wholesome goodness fun that we've kind of come to expect from the anime. The alien also meets up with has moments with Shimamura's sister. In which in one instance is, of course, when the alien just kind of blocking Shimamura's sister out of the way, and it was just adorable. And then she kind of makes up for it by buying croquet and everything like that. It was just all around just a lot of just wholesome moments, and it was just great times all around. And now we move on to our next anime, Majo no Tabitabi, episode 5, And this time, oh my goodness.
Me and Ravi were trying to have like a not an actual bed, but like, what do you think?
Yeah, we were thinking like, hey, what kind of episode is this gonna be? Is it gonna be another Debbie Downer? Or is this gonna be like a wholesome, happy episode like episodes 1 and 2? Thankfully, it's actually a happy episode. The episode starts off with Elaina moving into another country, of course, and this country is a lot like episode 2, where it's like we see mages everywhere, mages doing street performances, mages giving people rides, kind of like taxi rides, or mages doing deliveries and stuff like that. And it was just a grand old time.
A regular city, just with flying.
Yeah, with a lot of magic and flying. And so eventually she kind of bumps into a magic academy that has interest in her. Actually, okay.
Not interest,
but basically she walks into the academy by basically opening the gates and everything. And what happened was that she knew that Fran was she heard of Fran being in the area, so did she heard of Fran being in the area? No, she didn't know about Fran being in the area, but she knew that the building itself was home to a magic academy itself, so she wanted to go visit in. And the security guard's like, hey, you're not supposed to go in there, but I'm a witch. Oh, but even though you're a witch, you're supposed to have some kind of appointment, otherwise you can't go in. She's like, okay, fine. So I'm just gonna kind of fly around to kind of see the area, kind of see what's going on. And the academy themselves find her, and they decide to play a game. It's like, all right, so you're an Ashin witch, right? Well, if we can catch you, then you have to teach us. But if you win, then you can kind of go and do whatever you want. So they make a bet. They try to catch her, and they fail horribly. Elaina basically shows off just how much of a better mage she is by like zooming around, doing a whole bunch of tricks and stuff, and basically losing all their tails. And the whole afternoon, she was just kind of like flying everywhere. And eventually, yeah, they just tire out. It sunsets everything, and they're like, we can't catch her. She's just too good. But then somebody shows up. It's Fran. Fran shows up after 4 episodes of not seeing her, and they finally reunite after like good solid few years of Elaina finally being a full-fledged witch, and traveling and everything like that. And they get to reconnect, and it was honestly really wholesome. Elaina still kind of does do her part in kind of teaching the new students, and kind of some of her like the magic that she learned and everything like that. And yeah, all around it was just really cool seeing Fran reconnect and everything, and Elaina kind of showing off kind of like how to pick up water from the bucket and everything like that.
It felt like a Harry Potter moment.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, even the uniforms themselves with the students and everything really like had Slytherin vibes to it. They had the green tie and everything, and one of the girls kind of looked like Hermione with like with her hair straightened and stuff. And there was that one guy too. There was like, "Hey, Elaina, do you have a boyfriend?" But of course, him being the joke character always had like explosions and stuff. So that was on him. So I think, what was it? We said that he was kind of like Neville.
Yeah.
Neville Longbottom. Yeah, because Neville's like the character from Harry Potter that always kind of like have explosions up in his face and everything like that. So it's really cool to see. And of course, because the fact that Elaina is a traveling witch, she says, I'm gonna have to travel away. I'm gonna have to leave. So Fran's like, okay, so since you're gonna be leaving in the morning, let me show you the best view in the house. And she shows her like the best the view, the highest point of the building, and it shows kind of like the whole city. Elaina questions like, okay, so what do the mages do? I was like, when you graduate, you don't get that much money, but it's the profession of mage work and witchcraft and everything isn't about the money. It's not about all of that. It's about the passion for magic. So she asks Elaina, it's like, hey, what are your favorite things? So So obviously traveling is one of them. Books is one of them. Do you have anything else? Not really. Oh, butterflies. No, sensei, that's yours, you know. Flowers. No, it's yours. It's yours. So getting all of that stuff out of the way, you know, the next morning comes and they set up.
The one thing I enjoyed was the book, because when she was small.
Yeah. They were talking about that. Yeah, they brought up that the book that Elaina read has a whole bunch of short stories, and of all the short stories involved a traveling mage, which kind of stuck with Elaina, and coincidentally it was also Fran's favorite story as well. So, and Fran even mentions that, you know, she also tried to get a book published too, but, you know, she didn't have the motivation for it though. So, and unfortunately it was kind of like in the backwaters. So it was really relatable in that sense. Yeah, eventually the time came when Elaina had to go on her journey, and the students had a surprise for her, and they had a whole bunch of flowers prepared for her, and basically gave her like a flower, I guess, show. And it was kind of funny too. It was kind of cool too, because like the flower petals kind of also looked like butterflies too. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when they had shots of like the petals falling.
Cause she thought she wasn't gonna come.
Yeah. Yeah, she thought she wasn't gonna be there for it, but yeah, the flower petals looked like butterflies, and yeah, and that was the end of the episode. You know, she left, and it left a really good impression on her. All around, it was just really refreshing to finally see some happiness come along. Cause oh my god, the last two episodes were definitely Debbie Downers. This one was more uplifting.
Fran said like, if you're like completely done traveling, you should come back.
Or if you're close to the country, yeah, go back and see your mom, because you know your mom is worried about you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all around it was just a great episode. This is the type of stuff that I wanted to see, like, you know, at least Dragon's Dogma tackle, you know, have like one or two moments where it's like, it's nice, you know, it's refreshing to kind of see. And yeah, it was an all around good episode. Well done, and can't wait to see more. Yep. Gonna have to do another bet for that one to see what's to come, but yeah. Alright, and the next anime we got is Sigurdrifa, episode 5. Last episode kind of ended with a new character being introduced, and this time we get to see her in her full glory, Amatsuka. She calls herself like, well, Miko calls herself like, you know, big sis and everything. So at first we thought like, oh, she's her sister and everything. But we later find out that she's actually, they call her big sister as kind of like a sign of respect in a sense, because she's actually a Valkyrie of like the previous generation. But throughout we kind of see her kind of assimilating with the crew. What was it? Azuzu has doubts about her own like piloting abilities and everything, and they have doubts all around. This one was kind of okay. So besides what happened last episode, this feels more like a continuation of the third episode, more than anything. But hey, don't you guys worry. If you guys are fans of the last episode, this episode still has hints and bits and pieces of your favorite boys, because we got a rival team of boys that straight up face off against our boys, and that was the thing that happened.
We'll see more.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll see more of them. This one is more focused on Amatsuka and kind of what's going on with them. They go out to eat, and Azuzu is still kind of worried that, like, you know, her experience as a Valkyrie, well, not her experience, but her performance as a Valkyrie is not up to par, not up to speed and everything. And Sonaka is also kind of having, like, you know, she's also kind of having worrying doubts, and, you know, she remembers what the previous Valkyrie team was like, and we don't know much about what happened with the other Valkyries besides what with Amatsuka, other than the fact that Amatsuka is supposed to be she's supposed to be like middle-aged compared to like Valkyries as far as Valkyries go. So hard to tell, like, honestly, like, we don't know much about Valkyries other than the fact that they're supposed to be young women to be blessed with Odin's power at being able to take down the pillars and everything like that.
Odin's daughter.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we see Odin also. They get to see Odin and at the movie theater, and Azazu.
Yeah, he opened the gates of Asgard.
Yeah, he opens the gate of Asgard, and in it, he, for whatever reason, he's watching the previous episode where the boys are slapping cheeks again.
Yeah, I feel like he's trying to catch up.
Yeah, he's trying to catch up with us in the anime. So he's doing his thing, and he decides, you know what? I know you're having doubts, but let me challenge you to my favorite game of Street Fighter 2. Except it's not Street Fighter 2 because they don't have the license to it. So what does he play instead? He plays whatever the hell this is, which is Street Fighter 2, but with a custom sprite mods of the boys from their flight units, and they're there as Sagat, as Ryu, as Vega. It was really weird, but Azazu loses. Odin wins the whole set. Yeah. And he mentions that, like, hey, you guys are my daughters. I'm not gonna let you guys down. You guys, I'm gonna be there for you guys. All that stuff. And the next scene later, afterwards, we get Sonaka's scene, and then after that, we also get the moment I guess the anime has been pretty much set up for, where this humongous pillar falls asleep in the active volcano. Get a countdown sequence and everything. It goes to sleep, and that's where the anime ends. That's where the episode ends. So it's kind of weird. It's apparently we're getting set up for like the final battle, but I think I have some theories as to kind of like what's gonna end up happening, especially since Amatsuka's been introduced. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to go too deep into it, at least not yet, because I kind of feel like
you don't feel 100%.
I don't feel 100%. I don't want to say anything too soon, but I have some thoughts and ideas. So we'll see what happens next episode. But it's like I said, this feels more like a continuation of the third episode than the fourth episode did. So I can't wait to see more, see where it leads to. And next up, we have Standing on a Million Lives, episode 5. This is basically Kusue's episode. Everyone kind of had their own thing going on. Iu was on the last episode, and this is definitely Kusue's episode, because it literally starts up with Kusue's background and kind of what her deal was at home, how she was kind of meant to be kind of the star pupil, she's meant to kind of bring in the best grades and all that. And just kind of her as a person, her personality and everything kind of comes to light. And we see kind of what happened when she was in the dungeon, when she was being almost about to be assaulted by the goons, and Iu was able to kind of protect them. And when the goons got killed, that was apparently her first witness of murder. Okay. So that kind of messed her up in a way. So total opposite of Cavil, because Cavil is just, again, I think David said it best. The opposite of Darkness in a way, where Darkness was a sadist. Oh no, a masochist. Cavil is a complete sadist, because she just goes up and wants blood. She just wants to keep carving meat, and it's kind of funny too, because they actually go into why she's like this. And apparently it's because when her dad was training her older brother, she was there. And she kind of took things a little bit too seriously. And so now when it comes to slicing and dicing, cutting through meat or flesh, she gets very, very into it and very, very excited. Yes. She gets really deep into this kind of stuff. So, yeah. Unfortunately, Kusue is not like that at all. She sees the sight of blood and she just absolutely just drops. She does not want anything to do with it at all. Which is understandable, especially considering the type of life that her and everybody else have been leading was very normal. You don't get to see this kind of bloodshed or anything like that at all. So it was definitely an interesting experience for Kusue, to say the least. But yeah, eventually we kind of get to see the story progress. Our heroes go in and actually have to go through the city that they're supposed to be heading to. And on the way, they see a group getting attacked by kobolds, which at first David thought were pigmen, and I thought they were wolfmen. But I was more so right because I guess they're dogmen and they're officially called kobolds. But anyway, the kobolds attack this group, and at first the crew, Yotsuya in particular, is like, I don't want anything to do with this. We're just gonna keep going and do our thing, get to the place, because otherwise we're gonna lose time. But Kusue said, no, we gotta save them. We gotta help them out. And so Yotsuya's like, you know what? All right, we could spare this. We gotta get experience anyway. And
this will be like probably a side mission or something, or time mission if they said.
Yeah. It was an event. That's what Yotsuya. Yotsuya said, yeah, this is basically an event.
They said so far.
Yeah. And so they rush in, and unfortunately, they get clobbered. They take turns in getting killed and everything. But it kind of allows Kusue to reflect a bit more, kind of like what she has to go through. Because also in the episode, not in the episode prior, in the scene prior, she also, despite also having to see the dead body from the bandit, she also participated in goblin hunting too, or goblin slaying in a sense, and she got her first kill too, during that scuffle, and it was super traumatizing to her. She was like, no, don't die, no, I'm sorry. So she repeats that a whole bunch, even to a goblin that was, ready to just take her out right there. It's funny too. To me, it's funny because she was so she's died so many times. When it comes to like other people dying, that's when it comes to like no. Kind
of find dumb.
Yeah.
He's taking this world too serious.
Yeah, I know. Especially considering that, like, with her on her end and all her friends' ends, it's more like a video game, if anything.
Yeah, she's taking it way too much.
Yeah, so eventually they do.
It kind of reminded me of Kirito.
Mm-hmm.
Where he, how the first arc or the beginning was, they're dying actually.
Yeah,
and then when it came to the second arc, the fairy arc, that's when he's like, oh, I'm still
yeah, I'm still traumatized by like people actually dying.
Yeah, so she's right there, but she hasn't had that actual fear.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my god, I really hate you right now.
I know, yeah. But regardless, they were able to take him out. Yotsuya kind of gives the other soldiers an opportunity to basically do a back attack on them. Yotsuya also gets his kill in as well. Oh, actually no, Yotsuya eventually tries to go for the kill, but then he gets killed. And then the second kobold that tries to go for Kusue, then Kusue immediately just like has the idea, because with her, she can't hold her longsword, which is which sucks because Kusue is a knight, and her not being able to wield her longsword is kind of detrimental. So she has the brilliant idea of summoning her longsword right when the dude is right there, uses the quick animation to get the stab, and that's how she kills that's how she kills her second thing. And she decides that, okay, you know what? From now on, I'm protecting us. Everybody else, they get the axe. If they try to hurt us, I'm gonna kill it. So hey, that's character development. That's pretty cool. And of course, the third one, Cavill just decapitates real easily. She doesn't have to go through any of this. She's already like psycho for blood. So. And then when they rescue the people, it turns out these were the goods. They're actually meant to be transported to the capital to be executed. And that's when Yotsuya kind of figures out that, wait a minute, these must be the goods that the quest was talking about. So now we have our moral dilemma. Should our heroes take the goods to the capital to get their experience, or are they gonna rescue them and not do the quest? We don't know. But that was episode 5. Episode 5 of Standing on a Million Lives, and it was okay, I guess. I mean, I feel like episode could have gotten a little. It was pretty cool with that final dilemma, but like I guess overall it was just kind of like
I just don't like her.
You don't like you don't like her at all, so she's fine. I don't hate her or anything like that, but I'm like I just kind of wish that we can kind of get this out of the way, you know. This is kind of first episode stuff, and here we are on episode 5 already, still kind of like, oh, to kill is to die and to die is to kill, you know, stuff like that. So. But yeah, onward to our next anime, we have The Day I Became God, episode 3. And this one I like to call the ramen episode. We kind of figure out what was going on with Sora and why she came back with an injury, and apparently it was because of the fact that she was defending her senpai from a mob goon her
thug.
Yeah, a thug, because Sora's senpai has a ramen shop. Her family has a ramen shop, and the ramen shop ain't doing so good. So in order to kind of keep it afloat, they have they took out a loan from a loan shark thug group. Or I guess it's a thug. For now it's a thug. It's just a thug. Yeah. We don't know if there's like more people in this game, but yeah, for now it's a thug. And the thug wants his money back. So Sora was right there, and she was, of course, had to defend her senpai's honor, but she gets beat up because of it. And because of this dilemma that Sora is going through, you know, for the sake of her senpai and all that stuff, so our little goddess decides to, you know what? You wanna help her out, Yota? Well, I got the idea. I know exactly what to do. So they carry out the plan, and Yota dresses up as a business tycoon that could be able to help out any business, any ramen business at all. And yeah, he just goes full ham and full on like manager mode.
We got a manager mode, but it was all montage.
Oh yeah, it was all montage.
But it was funny with it, man.
Oh, it was brilliant. Yeah, like his acting is just so over the top that we could not help but just laugh at like what the hell was going on. It was just so ridiculous, but just so fantastic at the same time. Like he legit just goes in and just says, and he orders a bowl of ramen, eats it and everything. He's like, this could be better. But you know what? This kind of sucks. And you know what? Your ramen place? Oh yeah, it needs rebranding. Oh, but my mother like loves this name. It's like, no. We're gonna name this the Fallen Angel. So they go through a montage. He spices up the ingredients and it's like, oh, you know, don't go super like into the additives or anything like that. Nobody cares about that. You want that final touch, that hook, and you want to simplify the ingredients more. So he goes in, and this is, mind you, this isn't coming from Yota in particular, but this is coming from Odin more so than anything, because Odin is like the one that came up with the plan, literally telling him everything he needs to do in order for her senpai to get the business going and everything like that. And eventually it actually pays off.
The thing with the most funniest thing is that the glass is supposed to be hidden. You know, Clark Kent kind of thing.
Yeah. He's supposed to like, he has glasses on, and it's supposed to kind of like be his disguise. Because he wears a suit and everything, and it's really funny because Senpai even mentions like, wait, how old are you? He's like, I'm 40 years old. You look so young. You should be in a baby face contest. I did. And I won. What? It was just so ridiculous. And then we also get introduced to another character who goes by Suzuki, and we don't know his first name yet or anything, but well, I guess besides young boy,
to me, I think he's Loki.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
That's what David thinks, and it would actually make a lot of sense, because given the fact that like he's kind of a merry prankster in a way, because they go into Tokyo, And Suzuki mentions that like, this takoyaki is actually really good, just like the local delicacy. And even though he's supposed to go for official business or whatever, a local mom loses her child, and he's tasked, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna help find your child. Hopefully, if it's, if anything, she's still okay. But you never know. The parts is really dangerous. She could be kidnapped. Goes on full hacker mode, and it kind of makes me. It kind of fills that little void of us having to drop Akudama Drive, because he literally kind of pops up a whole bunch of multiple screens, hacks into the cameras, and like watchdogs his way into like figuring out where like the kids are, where the kid is. And it turns out she was in a park by herself, waiting for her mom and everything like that. And he does his good deed, summoned into the office building. Is like, hey, you know what to do. It's like, yeah, as long as I got my old hideout, we're good. But we don't know what that good thing is yet. But back to our original story though. Eventually, like, the ramen shop is a huge hit. And the mafia goon shows up, and he's like, "Where's my money? Where's my money?" But thankfully, Yota was right there, and
I think he didn't want to do anything.
No, he was not. I don't think he was really like interested in any of the mafia business at all. But thankfully, Odin drew out like an outline as to like where his feet placement should be for Yota when he does eventually get into that physical scuffle, and he beats the crap out of this thug, all because of the fact that he took advice from Odin as to what to do. Beats the crap out of him, and like that. She doesn't have to worry about paying that exorbitant 30% interest or anything. Sora was right there too, and she kind of like listened in on everything. And of course, the senpai knew that, like, okay, I figured out what was going on. I took acting, which makes sense obviously because the senpai and Sora they were both like in the filmmaking stuff. But yeah, senpai was like, yeah, I already knew that halfway through that you weren't actually who you said you were. You were actually Sora's brother, not uncle. And that's where the episode ends. After the whole Suzuki stuff, and we find out that there's 17 days left until the world ends. So who knows kind of where this is gonna lead on to. We're only on episode 3, and we're already almost halfway done with the 30-day countdown.
I'm curious with the new guy. And the whole plan they're doing.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's really exciting, and I'm honestly in it for the whole ride. And obviously, this is episode 3, but we're keeping this one.
No.
Oh my god.
Just kidding.
I mean, even though Omar's not here, and we usually have that thing, I'm absolutely sure that Omar would agree that we would definitely have to keep this one. This one's way too good to turn down. All right, and now moving on, we're going to talk about Taisō-Zamurai, episode 4. This one, it's kind of interesting because we all have, like, all these anime have, like, this whole week has, like, themed episodes. And this one's most definitely the Leo and Rei episode.
Yep.
Because, flashback to what David said before, but Rei was getting bullied by a bunch of kids because of the fact that... the samurai, aka Rei's dad, Jotaro, was given his grand old speech how I will retire, not, and all that stuff. So they were basically teasing her as like, oh, I will do my homework, not, I'm going to do this, not, all that stuff, all that mean stuff. And Leo, being the nice guy that he is, he notices that like, hey Rei, I noticed that you're being. It's like... You're not smiling. You're like, what's going on? She's like, you don't have to worry about it. But the next day when he notices that, like, the bullies are coming back again, he goes up to one of them and just, like, chop on one of the kids. And she's like, pulls him in. It's like, what are you doing? I don't want you to do that. It's like, that's mean. They shouldn't be saying stuff like that. It's like, I don't care what that is. No. I shouldn't do that. And then,
if you do that one more time,
if you do that one more time, it's like I don't want to be your friend anymore. I don't want to see you anymore. And it's funny too because like he didn't understand the meaning behind what that meant. So he goes up back to his job and asks his coworkers like, "Hey, what does this mean?" So his coworker actually had to explain to him, and she said like, "Yeah, he doesn't want to see you anymore. She doesn't want anything to do with you." He's like, "What? No, I can't let that happen. All right, I'm going to do what I can to help out." So, like his ninja ways, he decides to go into the school to investigate, and even tells the PE teachers.
It's
like,
so funny because he just like there's a bunch of kids, and he just walking with the kids
yeah.
like normal. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing here?
You shouldn't be here. This is kids only. You're not a kid." But I'm a kid at heart. But yeah, no. So what?
But yeah, he said he's here to investigate.
So he gets kicked out, obviously, but because of the fact that our boy Leo is a ninja, he sneaks around and is actually observing everything that Rei is doing for the whole day. And eventually, Rei does everything, and she's by herself, obviously, because nobody wants to talk with the kid that's being picked on and anything like that. So she goes through her day, everything, and eventually she gets off school. She gets
a letter.
She gets a letter, and the letter is of course for her Parents' Day. But she goes over, and eventually she gets off school, and then she goes to her mother's grave, and she obviously notices, "Hey Leo, I noticed that you've been following me. Come on. I've been wanting to be a ninja too. I can notice you." And so he's like, "Hey, Rachel, I understand. I'm going to do whatever I can to make it up to you." without consulting Rei at all. He also, like, at work, he also notices the paper, the slip that Rei got originally. It was actually the Parents' Day slip. And Rei's grandma comes in, explains to her exactly what's going on. And unfortunately, it was because of the fact that Parents' Day was supposed to be a where Jotaro would have to, come over and all that stuff. But each year, he never gets to come. And so it was always Rei's grandma that shows up. But this time, of course, because of the fact that Rei threw away the slip, he wanted nothing to do with that. So our boy Leo decides to take matters into his own hands, and
she was he was getting the story from the grandma.
Yeah. He got the story from the grandma and everything.
Yeah. And the thing is that I guess people didn't like the grandma as much. She was scary in a way.
Yeah, she was kind of scary, and of course, it's not your real parent; it's your grandparent. So she didn't want anything to do with. So Rei decided, okay, you know what? I don't want anything to do with that or anything. And that's when Leo decided to have his master plan unveiled.
This is where you thought.
I thought Leo was probably gonna tell Jotaro, so kind of like, hey, you should be the one to go in and kind of do Parent Day and everything, because this is your daughter. But he doesn't do that. Instead, he kind of takes matters into his own hands, puts on a suit, and acts as Rei's guardian in a very, very fabulous way. He wears a full suit and everything. He slicks back his hair. He ditches the ninja hood.
I have a feeling that he just he asked him for the outfit.
Yeah, he probably asked Jotaro for the outfit or something like that. And yeah, he was very boisterous about it. He was like, Rachel, you don't know the answer. and she got the answer right, and like Leo was applauding, and eventually like everybody they were confused
but
it
was funny at the beginning, like, why are they calling you Rachel?
Everybody was confused at first, but eventually they got infected with Leo's energy, They applauded her. They're like, Rachel.
But at the same time, it was really humiliating for her.
Yeah, it was like embarrassing for her
because he was making it like, you know, for everyone to enjoy, but he didn't see the fact that she wasn't enjoying it.
Yeah, she was like the opposite for her. She was like super embarrassed. She was like didn't want anything to do with this at all. Like it was like for her it was basically like her worst nightmare pretty much.
Yeah.
And so after that, you know, school ended and everything like that, she went to her locker and obviously Leo hit it off. Like all the school bullies that were like bullying her were like hanging around Leo, and Leo was like, yeah, you know, I'm a ninja and everything. Like, whoa, ninja, whoa. And
she was fed up.
Yeah, that was when she straight up snapped. Like she full on had her moment. She was like, I don't care like what the hell's going on with me. You know what? I get that like everybody's making fun of me, but my dad works hard. My dad is the best dad there is. I'm super proud of him, and I don't care what everything's doing. You're the one like that, and you're not even a ninja anymore. You don't even have the hood anymore, and all that stuff. And she just blasted him. So Leo, you know, was of course very sorry, and so he goes full on like, you know, apology, the apology bow and everything. And he even gets the kids to do it too. It's like, hey, the bullies, yeah. It's like, hey, do the apology bow right now. I'm sorry. So she just runs away. She just runs off, and she does fully see kind of like where, because Leo does kind of follow after her, and she mentions everything, and she's like, you know what? All right, but only you get to call me Rachel. I don't want anybody else to call me that. Only you get to call me that. It's like, okay. That's where the episode ends. So it was weird and interesting, but it kind of ended off with kind of like an uplifting note. Because despite everything, she did finally get to see, you know, Leo, despite being a complete weirdo, did mean well. What did you think, David, about that? But yeah, this was most definitely Leo and Ray's episode. It sucks too because they said Rachel so many times in the episode.
You want to say it, huh?
Yeah, I keep thinking her name is Rachel, but no, her name is Ray.
Ray, yeah.
But hopefully we'll get to see more of Tetsuo in the next episode. But yeah, this was a nice little like kind of conclusion to what was brought up on the last episode. So this one was pretty nice.
Yeah. I have a feeling, you know, they'll bring up the other guy too.
Yeah, for sure. All right, and now we move on to our next anime. We move on to Talentless Nana, episode 4. Last episode, we had Nana try to kill Kyoya with no results at all, because Kyoya survived that blast.
Yup.
And now Nana has to basically erase any hints that she would ever be the suspect of kind of what was going on. And so she kind of diverts her next target to a girl that could be able to heal by licking your wounds, aka Michiru, short blonde-haired girl that is not the most popular around. At first, she thought she had friends, but her friends actually her quote-unquote friends
bullies
are actually bullies that are more like the kind of like the girl bullies, you know, because they fake a love letter. They send it to her. She's like, hey, you know, you got a love letter and everything. Oh man, you gotta go to this time. Nana was able to save her, but of course the reason why she saved her was because so she can get closer to her and then end up killing her.
I think she's manipulating her the same way the two girls are manipulating.
Yeah, in a way, it's kind of like, oh, you know, I'm your real friend, you know, even though that's not the case at all. She's just trying to, first off, get an alibi from her, and then second, when it's convenient, she could be able to X her off.
Damn.
So yeah, it's messed up.
I think the only messed up thing even got worse was when she's just like a dog.
Oh yeah. So because of the fact that her talent involves her licking like wounds and stuff, she straight up calls Michiru like a dog girl. So in a way, it's kind of insulting in a way because that's not really part of her, characteristics or move list at all. It's not like in My Hero Academia where it's like, oh, Froppy, she's a frog girl, because that's actually part of her characteristics. Like licking to heal wounds. That's not a dog characteristic or anything like that. She just called it that because dogs lick people. That's why. So that's kind of messed up, but yeah. Yeah, so she tries to come up with a scheme to try to kill Michiru, but at the same time, Kyoya is very, very suspicious of her. She's he pretty much like is thinking, okay, you know what? There's definitely a chance that Nana is it. Like the whole thing that happened with Nakajima or anything like that. Like, why? So he absolutely thinks that it's definitely Nana. But to throw Kyoya out of the loop, she runs into Michiru's room, gets a knife, or not really a knife, but a spear to stab her with, ended up stabbing herself with it, so that way Michiru could lick the wound and heal her. Throw her off course.
For me, I think in general she was gonna. Well, that I was thinking that she was gonna cut off her tongue.
Oh shoot!
Because that's where her ability comes from, right?
Right. Yeah.
But then the outturn was pretty much she stabbed herself. So. Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah. So she stabbed herself, and she gets Michiru to lick the wound and everything like that. Obviously, to kind of be like, oh, the enemy attacked me. Oh my goodness. And immediately Kyoya was like, wait. Is that really what happened, or was it somebody invisible? Did she stab herself? What's the actual deal going on here? So he has no idea what's going on, and then she's just trying to cover her tracks and get an alibi from Michiru. And while all of this is going on, Michiru,
he was starting to notice. Yeah,
he's definitely starting to notice like a lot of like dissimilarities. Like, okay, this isn't like this, all that stuff. And then eventually Nana is like, you know what? I'm gonna try and go for becoming a class leader. I'm gonna be the queen of this school, so that way when I do end up killing people, no one's gonna ever think that it's me. So Michiru brings up like the next day, Michiru brings up, hey, I want her to be class leader, and obviously because she's in good terms with pretty much everybody in class, everybody else agrees to it. It's like, yeah, let's make Nana the leader. Hell yeah, let's do it. And she gets the leadership. However, one person in particular is like not too fond of that idea. In fact, at night he came up to her, shows her a picture of him being killed by her, because it turns out this man, or this boy, the student, could actually see into the future. I don't remember his name, so we're gonna put the name right here on the video, and yeah. He knows exactly kind of what's her deal. However, the problem with that though is that this guy is not exactly the sharpest tool in the shed. He is very much manipulatable. He's not sharp or witty like Kyoya is. In fact, he's very much like kind of like a cool dude kind of thing. He's not smart, but he can get around, and his visions. They come true no matter what. He's just curious as to why that is. Why Nana would even want to kill him. So he has another picture, because they go into the same ramen shop. Ramen shop is apparently open 24/7, but only he knows about it because he could see the future. That like obviously, oh yeah, they're just trying to hide it from us. They go in, and it turns out that Nana is also about to get hit with a bowl of ramen too. That comes true, obviously. And then he shows her another picture, and that picture this time is the fact that Nana kills our boy Nakajima, and that's where the episode ends. So I think Nana's gonna be okay. I don't think she's gonna get found out by anybody, because again, this guy doesn't seem that too bright-witted or anything, but I feel like if anything, like I do agree that I think he's definitely gonna die, but I feel like that's gonna definitely backfire, not because of the character, but because of the evidence. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's kind of what I think is gonna happen. So we'll just have to wait and see. So far, like, this anime is definitely keeping up to toes. You know, it's like, you know, what's gonna happen and everything. This anime does a really good job at that, and I honestly can't wait to see what happens next. And now we move on to our next anime, Dragon Quest Dai Episode 5. And yeah, this one has our conclusion of Avon versus Hadler. And unlike what we thought of before, where he protected the boys from getting hit, Avon doesn't die, but he is very seriously wounded. He's like, you know what? It's time to finish this fight. So he uses the last of his magical abilities to cast Kachang on everybody, on Gomechi, on Pop, on Dai, and all them, and Brass. And he's like, okay, time to settle this. So he fights Hadler, you know, one-on-one, nothing but like fists and everything. And unfortunately, despite Hadler being almost out of magic energy, he's still super strong physically. He beats up our boy Avon, and Avon eventually just says, you know what? I'm going to have to finish the fight. Megante! Stabs his fingers onto Hadler's head, activates Megante to self-destruct, causes a huge explosion, which of course everybody gets caught on, but our heroes are, of course, you know, they're made of full-on steel, so they're not affected by it. They can't move, but they're not affected by it. Blows up, and they survive, and our hero Avon dies.
Pretty much.
He sacrifices himself to take him out, and he falls. Unfortunately, we get a Nappa moment where despite the fact that he blew himself up, Hadler is still alive.
He came from the ground.
Exactly. He came from the ground. He has stab wounds, bleeding out, everything, and he's just furious. He's like, "Ugh! I can't kill any of these imbeciles! Ugh!" But he did kill Avon, but he's still like just furious. So he just wants to get it over with. So he comes up with the idea of like using Hellfire to basically burn our heroes until like when their Kachang, like, you know, deactivates and everything, they'll eventually burn. But that's when Dai forcibly breaks out of Kachang and reveals the dragon crest on his forehead and goes full on like Ultra Instinct on him. Holy crap, like, it was crazy.
Yup.
Like he summons all these powerful spells to cancel out his Hellfire, and he just goes all out. He slashes his fingers, and he actually does damage and everything like that, and shit was crazy.
The thing that I like about the fights in general, you actually see fights.
Yeah. The fights are actually like really well animated, and they're really high intense and really fast and everything like that, and it's really well done. And then eventually it all leads up to Dai using his, or actually no, before then, Hadler uses his like last of his magic to basically blow up Dai, but he still survives. And despite this, like, Dai eventually uses his like his ultimate techniques, the Avon Strash, to basically absolutely destroy Hadler. Well, not kill him, unfortunately, but, you know, remind Hadler, you know what? You can't really mess with me. I'm gonna get you, kind of thing. He cuts off his, like, the attack eventually like blows up his arms and gives him another like scar and everything like that, and almost kills him. Yeah, while he's flying too. Yeah. It actually forces Hadler to retreat. So yeah, what Dai did was definitely not something to sneeze at.
It kind of sucked for Pop.
Yeah, when Pop, yeah, when the Kachang did release for everybody else, Pop fell to the ground, and he was disheartened. His master that he was training under for years is now dead. And so they made a memorial for him on the rock that Dai slashed. And Dai vows to take his magic training very seriously. And then, of course, on the other side, we also see Hadler regenerate his arms as well.
Oh, one last thing. I think at least for Pop, at least the thing he left behind. The
sword, yes.
No, not the sword. The little protection sphere.
Oh yeah. The spell that Avon set up, like pretty much as soon as he got in, is still being held up. So it shows just how powerful Avon was. That despite him being dead, is still in effect. So definitely huge props on that. But yeah, so eventually, we also see Hadler eventually regaining his arms, through like demonic regeneration and all that stuff, and is definitely not taking Dai lightly. So he's definitely gonna be returning to finally take out Dai once and for all.
He's on his mind now.
Yeah, he's definitely not taking him lightly this time.
Yeah, because at first he was like, whatever. Now he's like, he might even be more powerful from Avon.
Yeah, he even thinks that like he might even be more powerful than Avon was in his prime. Yeah. So that's definitely something that he does not want to risk and wants to just eliminate pretty much as soon as possible.
So I guess then he tells the rest of his minions,
his dark army, to go in and attack. Yeah, and that's where the episode ends. So again, really excited to see like this anime. Like it's all crazy too, because I was telling David that like despite all this amazing action going on, we still have not yet left the island.
We'll get there.
We'll eventually get there, and I feel like there's definitely going to be more to see from when we do eventually get to that point.
I'll give it like another episode or two.
Yeah. Episode 10, we're still here. But yeah, no, definitely great episode, and it was just all around just it was just fantastic and badass, and Avon definitely died a hero, and it was just fantastic.
It was a pretty cool way to die, though.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Sacrificing and blowing up. All right, now we move on to our next anime, our last anime of our lineup, Jujutsu Kaisen, and episode 5. And where we left off, Yuji switched off to Sukuna to fight off the special class curse, and doesn't come back, leaving Sukuna to basically go wild. Parents aren't home, teachers not home. Kids, you can go ahead and go nuts. And that's what Sukuna does. And the first thing he does is to pay Fushiguro a visit. Leaves that chamber and says, "Hey, you know what?" Sukuna just tells Fushiguro, "Your buddy's not coming back. Yuji is, Yuji? Yeah, he's not coming back. And guess what?" Pulls out his heart. "This thing? Oh yeah, that's something that he needs in order to live, right? I don't need it." And but he does. So if he switches back, he's gonna die. He literally just tosses his heart aside, and that's when Fushiguro decides, okay, you know what? Let me fight and at least wear him out, so that way he has to regenerate a new heart. So that way when Yuji does come back, he'll be able to take over and he'll be fine. That's literally like what Fushiguro was betting on, to make sure that whatever happens to Yuji, he'll be okay in the end. They have a fight, like a super intense fight where like he summons all his Shikigami and all his companions and stuff. But obviously they're no match for Sukuna. Sukuna even eats another finger just to be on the safe side. So now we're at like count number 3 out of 20 fingers. And Sukuna is just like absolutely destroying our boy Fushiguro. And eventually Fushiguro's like life even flashes before his eyes. We get hints at like a character that I guess Fushiguro is basically fighting to avenge, because she didn't deserve to die. She was a nice character. She was a nice person, but we don't know too much about her. And And unfortunately, Sukuna catches on to what Fushiguro was doing, and the fact that like he was basically trying to hold him off just long enough for him to regenerate his heart. But yeah, that does not come to pass. And Yuji switches off anyway. He's like, hey, I get, what's going on and everything like that, and I'm just gonna say thanks and all that stuff. And that's when he passes out and allegedly dies. So that's how we get that prophetic one person will die from the team kind of prophecy. And Yuji dies. Main character is dead. For now. I mean, that's kind of, the anime barely started, so there's no way he's gonna just end up dying, right? Yeah, they even take him to like, to an autopsy.
Mortuary.
Or mortuary, yeah, mortuary. And a doctor comes out and is trying to basically do an autopsy on kind of what happened with him. Meanwhile, we also see Fushiguro with Nobara, and they were kind of like contemplating as to kind of like what happened, despite knowing Yuji for like about a good solid 2 weeks. For Nobara, she was like
kind of like a send off, like we're finally finished with the small little arc, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in a way, we're finally finished with the arc, and we move on to our potential tournament arc. And before then, we get introduced to our 3 new characters.
Second years, right?
Second years, yeah. Gejin, who is a I guess tsundere type character that they kind of explained. Inukami, a boy that only speaks in ramen ingredients, and Panda. We don't know anything about Panda other than he's a panda. And that's how we move on to our next arc. Well, I guess we move on to our next arc, but also. We also see a man who is basically hanging out with 3 other curses, and one of the curses remarks that he remarks that the only way for curses to become the dominant species of the world, that we must do 2 things. One is to defeat the strongest Jujutsu Kaisen user out there, or the Jujutsu user out there, which is of course Yaga. And the second thing is to recruit Yuji and Sukuna into our ranks, and that's how we could be able to accomplish that. And the curse says, "Hey, wait a minute! How is that gonna even happen if Sukuna and Yuji are dead?" It mentions, but are they dead though? That's when we go inside of Yuji's heart. Notices Sukuna is just kind of like sitting there, is like, so. How do you explain yourself? And then that's where the episode ends. So I feel like we're kind of, the next episode is gonna set up kind of like a moment where like Naruto is like with the 9 tails and stuff, talking with him. I'm getting like that kind of vibe with the next with how the next episode is being set up. So
think so?
I think so, yeah. Because especially the opening kind of has that, where it's like Yuji is like talking with Sukuna. So. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. I feel like that's kind of like what we're going to be getting for next episode. The arc is we're definitely going to be seeing some kind of like tournament arc that's going to happen, but for now it's going to be, the two boys talking with each other, or the 2 halves talking with each other. So we'll see. All right, and now we're going to be talking about our news. Game news first. We're gonna be talking about SMT Nocturne HD. HD Remaster is finally out. In Japan. In Japan. The game will launch, of course, in the West in spring 2021. But for now, you could get the game in Japanese for PS4 and for Switch for a solid $60. I'm not sure if I'm too. Oh, and they also came up with the new commercial too. The commercial itself is supposed to be kind of set up like the original commercial for the PS2 release, but this one's in HD though, so it's gonna look way prettier. Overall though, I don't know how I feel about the game being $60, honestly. Like, I'm hoping that's not the final price for when it comes out in the US, but I feel like it is, because, you know, Atlas wants our money. Money. Of course, they're gonna want to sell us a 17-year-old game for full price, but you know, it is what it is. I'm still gonna get it because I love the original Nocturne so much that, you know, I don't mind getting it a second time. But yeah, that's that for SMT Nocturne. Now we move on to Final Fantasy 16. It reveals the world, and we get to see some character details. And such.
What do you think about the poster? I guess the poster art.
The poster art looks really cool. I mean, you get to see, like, I would assume it are like two summons and stuff, kind of like duking it out with each other. The main character,
like a demonic hand. Yeah.
Yeah, so. the main character kind of like standing all badass and stuff like that in front of this gray-looking castle and stuff like that. So it looks really cool.
Looks like it's probably his capital and stuff or something.
Yeah. And they also reveal some of the character names, which one is kind of weird. Clive Rossfield, which sounds eerily similar to Chris Redfield. But hey, you know, that's cool. Did they say if he's the main character?
No, I think it might be his brother.
Yeah, it could be like the brother character. I don't know. Well, we'll see. Kind of like more. Like, I'm glad that we're getting like actual details. Oh, and the other one is like Joshua Rosfield, who's the younger brother, and then the third character is Jill Warwick. Which, okay, I'm gonna say this right now. I think they mentioned that she's supposed to be 14 years old.
Really?
Apparently, she doesn't look 14. Like in the art, she does not look 14. But I don't know if that's true or not. And it is the world, and the world is called Valistia, or Valistea. It looks really beautiful. Like, honestly, the artwork and everything looks absolutely gorgeous and fascinating.
What did you think about the art, the pictures of them, the art style?
I'm getting a lot of Bravely Default vibes, or actually, it's a combination of Bravely Default and Nier. Because the artwork for Nier, because it's the same artist. I put the artist's name up on the screen right here, but it's the same artist of Nier Automata and Bravely Default and everything. So it kind of has like a combination of the two. It's not chibi like that, but you know, it's I like the art direction, to say the least. I think it's really cool. All right, and now we move on to our next bit of news. This one's going to be like a bundle of news.
Anime,
Netflix. Specifically Netflix anime that's been announced.
I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, a lot of these were like just crazy. So the first up is the anime called Spriggan. It's a new anime developed by David Productions and directed based off of the Hiroshi Takashige and Ryoji Minagawa's Spriggan manga, which I guess is also translated to Striker. We saw the teaser for it and it looked pretty cool. It kind of gave me sort of like a sort of, I don't know what to call it, like a death game kind of vibe to it. Like they're wearing like weird suits and stuff, and like they have powers and stuff. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah,
Like
we don't know anything about it.
Yeah, and it's gonna be CG too. So I'm hoping that like if it is like it's gonna be by the same, like kind of the same CG as like the openings for like parts 1, 2, and 3, like for JoJo.
From Dave Productions.
Yeah, because it's all still David Productions. So we'll have to wait and see. It looks pretty interesting so far. So. The next anime that's got announced is the one that I'm actually kind of familiar with because, you know, the manga is actually pretty popular. Way of the House Husband. This one is coming out also in 2021.
I think they're all coming in the same season.
Oh yeah. They're all coming out in
spring.
2021. But the difference is this is just a huge like dump, a huge dump for anime. Did they say what the this one doesn't have a teaser yet, but we just only have like the manga to go off of, which is of course based off of, which is based off of. It's about, of course, a retired Yakuza member that falls in love and gets married, and is the homemaker of the two. He's a
housewife.
Yeah, he's the house husband. He actually stays home and takes care of the house and cooks dinner and everything. So that's going to be really interesting to see. I was always interested in reading the manga, but of course, since the anime got announced, I'm like, okay, no, I gotta hold out. I gotta watch to see for myself because I'm really interested. So that's gonna be cool. All right, and next anime on our list that from the Netflix announcements are Godzilla Singular Point. We saw the trailer for this and
teaser.
The teaser, I guess, yeah. And we don't know too much about what the whole deal with this is. We think that this might be kind of like what's it called? Like Shirobako, how it's about the production of anime. Like this one's gonna be like about the production of like Godzilla, I feel. I mean, we could be wrong because this is just a teaser. We don't know like anything about kind of like what it's about or anything like that. But it kind of feels like that's the case, especially given kind of like what's going on and everything like that. So I'm excited regardless because this is a Godzilla anime in general. So yeah, even if it isn't like about Godzilla itself, like we're just excited to see kind of like where this is gonna go. So.
For me, I really like the art direction.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully the CGI is not that bad, but you know.
I'm hoping the CGI is gonna look a lot like Gridman.
Gridman?
Yeah, because the CGI for Gridman was really good. Like they got that one was basically like a monster, like a monster kind of anime in a way. So
yeah,
really excited about that one. Now the next anime we're going to be talking about is Eden, which is a short. Yeah, it's a 4-episode anime? Yeah, it's a 4-episode anime by Cubic Pictures, and it's being directed by the same director as Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. And so this is gonna be another small one. It's set years in the future where a human child is discovered by a colony of robots, and they decide to raise the child as its own. And yeah, it's kind of weird because when we saw the trailer for this, I don't know why, but for some reason I kind of got like a whole bunch of like a Decadence vibes, I guess. So it's gonna be really cool to see. But
in this one, she's the only human left alive.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting to see kind of like where this is gonna go in this 4 episodes. Like we said, it's gonna be the same director as Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. We also have Kimiko Ueno, who also did shows such as The Royal Tutor and Kuromajo-san ga Toru, and also Toshihiro Kawamoto, who also worked on Cowboy Bebop and Origami. I don't know what their roles are, but I'm assuming concept art. Yeah, concept artist. Okay. So yeah, can't wait to see where this is gonna go. And moving on to our next anime, we have The Spoke Rohan Kishibe, the anime spin-off of the Rohan storyline and kind of like what his adventures are and all that stuff. It's gonna be a 4-episode OVA for our boy Rohan, and yeah, I'm hoping this isn't kind of what the April announcement is gonna lead off to. It's like, hey, here's Rohan. But no, the fact that Rohan's like stuff, because this is still based off of the manga that Araki made back in 2017. So this is more of Araki's recent stuff that's being adapted. So that's pretty cool overall. And then the last but not least, we have High Rise Invasion, which is also based off of a popular manga of the same a manga named off the same series, which is about murder. but taking place in skyscrapers. So if you have fear of heights, you know, this is the anime for you. Cause
no, it's not like that.
No.
No.
Okay, I don't know, because you read like a little bit of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm a little bit ahead. I stopped a while ago, and now that I realize it's getting an anime, now I'm gonna stop completely.
Yeah, at least until like we know like how much of this story this is gonna adapt. So.
Yeah, but it's interesting. The story itself is really interesting. I like it so far. So basically, there's a bunch of killers or a bunch of random people.
Yeah.
And they wear these type of masks. And the thing is that our main girl Yuri is trying to survive all this weird world. Like, we don't know what it is, alternate world, or it could be anything, but on skyscrapers.
Yep.
So usually it's been a while, but the thing is that she's trying to find her brother.
Okay.
Because she thinks he ended up being here too, but we don't know. I can't say more because then, you know, spoiling more.
Right.
But it's really gory and a lot of violence.
All right. But yeah, it looks really interesting. We saw the trailer for it, and honestly, can't wait to see where this goes. I mean, I like the concept of it, and it just looks great so far. Yeah, that's all we have to talk about for this week's episode of the Anime Squad podcast. Be sure to like the video, comment the video, and share if you think we're super duper awesome cool. As always, my name is Robbie.
And this is David.
And we'll be having Omar back next week, so stay tuned till then. See ya.
Bye.